My name is Michael Zapsik from AMC's Comic Book Man. You're listening to IT in the D.
Welcome back. Thank you once again for hanging out with us. This is the one and only IT in the D Show. I'm your host, Bob Waltenspiel, hanging out with producer, co-host extraordinaire, Randy Walker. Guest this week, it's not my high school baseball coach, but it is Pete Martin, shares the same name. Let's go through the list. Venture capitalist, founder, startup guy, Detroit ambassador, enthusiast, lover of all things Conies, currently at Michigan State and the, what's it called again? The venture,
the MSU Research Foundation.
Research Foundation. Thank you. But we're going to be talking about all those things, and hopefully we've been squirreling all afternoon already, so this might get ugly, but in a good way. But you can find us online at itinthed.com. Do us a favor, give us a like on the socials, subscribe to us everywhere fine podcasts are sold.
Next meetups are Wednesday, April 1st at Holmes Brewery in Ann Arbor, 5 to 8.
Do people say what's up, Holmes? I hope not.
I don't think
Actually,
so.
I kind of hope they do.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
And then Thursday, April 16th here at Detroit Shipping Company.
if you need to find us, meetup.com/IT in the D. No speakers, no cover, no agenda, just a bunch of IT folks hanging out. Pay your own bill and come when you want, leave when you want. Need more recruiters.
Yes, more recruiters for sure. Got a lot of job seekers showing up lately.
The market is market's tough right now. So if you're a recruiter, get your ass out there.
You guys, it's a freaking pleasure to be here.
Yeah. Did I tell you that you shared the name of my high school baseball coach?
No, I found that out live as we're doing this now. It's so good.
I'll tell stories when the show's over. Yeah, I have a couple good ones. I digress. All right, I feel like we always do origin stories, but yours is fantastic. Born and raised in Detroit.
Born and raised in Sterling Heights. Sterling Heights.
I mean, you know,
close enough.
The tough streets of Sterling Heights.
Born and raised in Sterling Heights. Went to school at MSU.
Yeah.
Bailed on Michigan the first chance that I got, right? Because growing up in Michigan, it was the only thing that we ever really heard was how the state was like on a downward spiral.
So did you leave right after graduation then?
I left. I graduated. I worked at, oh my gosh. So was going to school at MSU.
That's the biggest problem is the brain drain, leaving Michigan, going to Chicago, going to Silicon Valley, going to Denver, going to Austin is brutal, taking people from us.
Been to Chicago, been to Austin.
Yeah.
So 2009 is when I graduated college. Terrible time to graduate in the country.
Good time to buy a house for cheap.
Great time to buy a house if you had money. Had no money.
Yeah.
Had no money.
All right.
2009, I graduate college, was working at Zales, the jewelry store, while going to school. And so I stayed working at Zales. And then a friend of mine was working at the Apple store at Somerset Mall. Okay. And so I got a job at the Apple store and became one of the top salespeople in the state. Sold like $2 million in computers.
I didn't know they kept track of sales there.
Oh, they did. Yeah. If you went into the back, you didn't earn commission, right. but they like definitely tracked sales and attachment rates of like the like Apple Care and like.
Were you like on like Verizon? You just sneak Apple Care, then you look at your bill and you're like, I don't want this.
I would. Sort of. I would.
Verizon's the worst, by the way. I love your service, cell tower.
Tim Cook, plug yours.
Your stores and it's not the guys that work there because it's not them, the guys or girls. It's the directives they give them.
Yeah. No. This was like prime time working at the Apple store. So 2010 to 2011 is when I was there.
It was the old memes. I have an iPhone. I can ass has.
What is
that?
It was like
I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
It was the guy.
Yeah, I can has cheeseburger. It was like that thing.
Yeah, it was I can has iPhone. IB asshole or something. And it was like that one guy. That picture of like the guy that stood in line. It was like people. That's when people in New York stood in line for iPhones for like 6 days.
Yeah,
that's exactly the time that I was there.
For normal people, that was also the time when the iPad came out.
It was the launch of the iPhone 4. Yes, and it was the original iPad. So I was there for both of those things. The iPhone 4, in my opinion, objectively, the best iPhone iteration ever.
Until they bricked it with their software and made everybody upgrade.
Sure, yeah, but in the moment,
they admitted it, Randy.
That was something different.
Was it?
First of all,
the worst thing I remember there was like the antenna gate. If you held the phone a certain way with the iPhone 4, that was
what was that?
The antenna was built into the case of the phone, so if you held it the outside of the phone and like blocked certain parts of the antenna, you wouldn't get reception.
Oh,
yeah, that was like
everybody free bumper cases.
Correct, correct, and it worked. But the iPhone 4 was phenomenal, and the lines were everywhere, and it was just a really fun time to be there. And then the iPad, the original iPad came out when I was there, and it was candy. It was like a nerd's like candy. It was so cool.
It's like a phone, but bigger.
And more fun. Yeah,
And no phone.
and no phone. No phone. Yeah, no phone. I guess at the time, nowadays you can just use it for whatever you want.
Right.
But anyway, so I was there early, and then usually you would go through like a whole training. You'd be selling accessories for a while, and then eventually work your way up to selling computers. But I'd just like first day that I was on the floor, went over and sold a computer to somebody and had all of the attachments on it, like the Apple Care and Mobile Me back in the day, and like the one-to-one, like the training that Apple used to do.
So 08, that was when I had my first BlackBerry with the trackball.
Ooh.
Yeah. And if you've never seen the movie BlackBerry, it's a 20 out of 10 if you're into tech. If anyone grew up in tech, there's a BlackBerry movie. Do you remember the name of it, Randy?
No.
I just saw a little ad for it, whatever, when I was flipping. 20 out of 10 movie.
Cool. My wife was obsessed with that trackball on the BlackBerry.
I loved it.
Yeah. I forced her to get an iPhone. Well, it's fast forward. Anyway,
Is the one that's just called BlackBerry from 23?
Probably.
The BlackBerry movie's called BlackBerry. Bob.
classic.
No.
Classic.
I don't know if it was like lost rim jobs or something, What? You don't know that? Do you ever see that newspaper ad?
That one.
6,000 what is it? 6,000 or
Yeah.
something
Canada
like
loses 6,000 rim
Canada
jobs.
loses 6,000 rim jobs.
Because the company was Research in Motion.
Rim.
They went by rim.
Oh no, that was a real. Oh my god, I thought you were
totally
making
real.
a joke.
No,
Holy
no,
cow.
no. Hang on.
Unfortunate, yeah.
I'm going to show you right now just because we can't talk any further unless you see this. It's probably one of the great. It's more fun than PennIsland.com. Do you know that one?
Well, I get it now.
Yeah. And they're like, nobody told them in their naming.
Found it.
Oh.
6,000 rim jobs on the line.
That made the
It
news.
was a headline in the newspaper.
Somebody had to know.
The edit.
13 years ago. Wow.
What was it?
Wow.
I
What
found it on
paper
Reddit.
was it? Yeah, I see. I got it.
Oh.
And then BlackBerry Be Bold, 6,000 rim jobs on the line. The editor had right. It's then the second one down. Anthony Wiener's rise and fall. New York
I
Post,
remember back when he was in the news. That was a what a time to be alive.
It was
Sneaking
one past the editor though. Kudos to that whoever wrote that, and like the old man was like, "Oh yeah, it sounds great. Research in motion."
There it is.
We digress.
So we sold computers, right? Sold a computer on my first day, went well, and then just stayed and sold a bunch of computers and did really well at it, right? Sold many of those, and then eventually a guy came in to buy a computer for his mother-in-law. I sold him that computer, and he said, "What the heck are you doing here? You should come work for me at my company in New York."
I love those stories.
And that happened like enough. That happened a lot when we were there.
With the waiter.
Yeah, usually you would have with a waiter, have with somebody. Yeah, exactly like that. But we would have it happen to people at the Apple store all the time because Apple does a phenomenal job at training its people, right? It's like really good. And so somebody would come in and say, "Hey, you should come work at my manufacturing plant." And I would say, "That doesn't sound exciting to me at all.
Right.
I'm not going to do that." And this guy was like, "Hey, I have a broker dealer, a finance company in New York. You should come move to New York and work with me." And I was like, "That's interesting," because I was interested in finance and it was a startup. And I was like, but it was like early, it was 2011. So it was like before startup was like a real term. I was like, oh shoot, I think I got to go do that. And so I did. I called my girlfriend, now wife, and was like, "Hey, I think I got to go move."
See, now
to,
this shows our age. Cause like I went through the whole, like I started my 96 in an empty data center selling T1s and Colo. And that's when the whole, I went through that .com, but you were probably still,
Yeah, 96, I was 10.
Yeah. So I went through that whole thing with the pets.com. So like that was my, like when startups, like the .com bust bubble. So when everybody, like, not to do like a Gen Z comparison, but like, I've been through this. I'm like,
not Gen Z.
Like I used to have to duck under desks for nuclear strike warnings. Like don't like Gen X, we were like forged in steel, but like all of the bad .com ideas that were coming out. And I keep seeing it repeating. And now it's in AI, but we'll talk about that after the origin story.
Yeah.
Like, it's a thing.
Oh, it's totally a thing. So moved to New York to be an early employee at this electronic broker dealer. They hired me to be like their level 1 IT guy. Right?
Okay.
And so I moved there and they sent me down to the New York Stock Exchange. I'm replacing blades. I didn't even know what a blade was.
Okay.
They'll pull them out of a server rack and
Tape
pop them in.
autoloaders.
And they had these guys that are on the floor of the New York Stock Exchange. Whenever they would, every week they would have a virus on their computer, like constantly getting viruses on their computer, and they're using AOL Instant Messenger to communicate with each other. That's how they were like executing trades with everybody on the floor of the New York. It blew my mind. I was like, how is this how is this the technology that we're using? But that's what it was. Everybody was using it, and they would constantly have viruses, constantly
Was
be
it
like
encrypted back then? Do you remember?
no, not
Is
at
that
all,
why?
not at all.
I'm just wondering
And
why they would use it.
you had to archive your messages, and AIM had the ability for you to like go into settings and like archive messages, but anybody could go in and turn it off. It was like the most insecure thing ever. It was crazy.
It was convenient. Everybody had it.
Super convenient.
My name
People
was
were already
Walton Beer.
using
Did
it.
we talk about this before?
No.
I think Walton Beer.
I remember we talked about like ICQ numbers many episodes ago.
At first, I think I was like 19. Why would that be my name though? Like, I guess go figure, right? It's
Yeah.
crazy.
So we did that for
I never
Ben.
had an ICQ number.
So we did that. I went from the IT to running onboarding and like running. I was like administering our Salesforce instance back when you had to like write. I can't remember, was it Apache or whatever it was to like interface with Salesforce in the back end. So we're doing a bunch of stuff there, and then we grew really quickly. Became one of the top options traders on Wall Street. We bought ourselves out of the company that we had incubated with, bought another company to become a self-clearing broker-dealer, and moved our headquarters from New York to Chicago. And so I moved from New York to Chicago. I was really happy to do that because it got me closer to home. And we grew there for a little bit, and then we had a problem where we ultimately had to say like we weren't doing anything bad with customer order flow that was coming into our broker dealer, and we weren't, and we knew that we weren't, but there was no way for us to like prove it. There was no software that we could because we were co-located at CBOE, the Chicago Options Exchange. And there was no way for us to be like through software to prove that nobody was like port mirroring one of our switches and just like stealing order flow and things like. We just couldn't prove it. And so a handful of us left to co-found a startup that became Alter to solve for problems like that. Like who has access to information on my network, like the very hairy problem, and how do I control that? And then narrowed it down to like data and who has access to data, who has access to my sensitive data, how should they be able to see that data? That's the path that we went down.
Did you ever hear of the origin story of F5 networks?
No.
So we actually had the founder on our show because he founded a Zero Trust company, and one of the reps was a buddy of mine.
Zero Trust.
And,
I remember the phrase, man.
Yeah, what happened to that?
It was so sexy.
It is what I always said. It was a philosophy, and it's continued to be a philosophy. As a product, it's not. It does. So he was selling the machines that went into the stock market floor, and he ran out of markets. Went to Hawaii. Was selling these. I don't know if he founded the ISP, if it was like the first dial-up ISP to get them communicated, get them on the network. And it was slow as shit. And he created load balancing as basically a byproduct aftermarket. I'm like, it's one of the four horsemen of the internet.
Cool.
As we know it.
Yeah.
And it was because he wanted to get stock exchange machines to run faster because it sucked. The internet sucked in Hawaii.
Does he have ties to Michigan? You have him on the show here.
One of the guys, his rep closed like $1 million deal in Columbus, and he brought him up here to like see a couple of customers. And then while he was in town, he's like, "Hey, do you want me to bring so and so on the show?"
So fun.
Oh no, it was
so fun.
Yeah, exactly. And his guy's like, "Yeah, I guess I'll." I still don't know how we got him on the show.
December 2018.
He was in 18.
Yeah.
What was his name again? I forgot.
I don't know. We have bad show notes at that time.
Bad show. Yeah. Anyway,
since then
it still exists though somewhere.
Yeah.
There.
Cool.
Anyway. Chicago stock market.
Yeah. All right. So we were co-located there. Couldn't find a solution to this problem. So a handful of us ended up leaving, co-founding what became Alter. We knew a guy that ran a hedge fund that was like our neighbor when we were building this company, and he happened to be from Michigan, happened to be a Lions fan, happened to be always having trouble with his computer. So we were always over there fixing his computer, and he became our angel investor. The guy's phenomenal, right? Super awesome guy.
Guys are good people to be able to fix their stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Just like, go like just by way of always being techie, because we grew up in a techie family, just like fixing, and like you have no idea what's going to happen just by being helpful to somebody, right? And so he became our angel investor, and then we were able to raise all the way through Series B. So we started in Chicago. One of my co-founders went back to Melbourne, Florida, where he was from, and so when we raised our Series A, we signed a big public traded company, multi-million-dollar deal, raised a $15 million Series A. I had to tell my wife, "Hey, we're moving down to Florida now because we got to scale our engineering team."
Could be worse though.
Yeah, it could be worse. It was great for us. It was great. We owned a house in Chicago or in Skokie, Illinois.
That's where my grandfather immigrated when our family came to the U.S.
Really?
in the 1950s, where they went to yes, it was at Skokie. I still have family in Skokie.
I'm a huge fan of Skokie. Huge fan of Kaufman's. The deli in Skokie is like so fun.
My uncle lived on Dempster. He had not to get too deep, my grandfather ran moonshine.
Yeah.
Not to get too deep, but let me tell you the exact block my great grandpa lived in.
And he was he bought every time he bought a fourplex with moonshine money. And then when and then basically this, my dad got one, my uncle got one, just
on Dempster.
Right on Dempster and Wolf, yeah.
We lived off of Dempster, right off of 96.
Hilarious.
94?
Small
94?
world, yeah.
Yeah.
Florida.
Right off the highway in Dempster. It was like, that was us.
Florida.
All right. So we sell the house in Chicago, moved down to Florida, left during a blizzard, and drove all the way down to Florida. I told my wife we were chumps forever living in the Midwest. We got there, it was 75 degrees, February, 75
Until the
degrees.
first hurricane, yeah.
So good. It was great until that happened. And then we had a hurricane came through every year. We have to evacuate our office. But we scaled there, hired a bunch of engineers. We had about 30 engineers in our office that was on the barrier island in Florida, so we could overlook the ocean. It was super cool. It was nice. It was a great time. Best time of scaling that company was those couple of years in Florida. And then we raised our Series B in like a flat round, down round. And so I moved to Austin to get a handle on our go-to-market efforts. And we did. Right? I read a book called Obviously Awesome by April Dunford. It's like the book on B2B SaaS positioning. And that helped us make this go-to-market shift from selling like a software company, $100,000 minimum deals, to selling like a SaaS company because we were SaaS, right? We could sell a $0 deal because it cost us nothing to bring anybody on board. Yeah. We formed a partnership with Snowflake, a really good one, before they IPO'd.
I was going to say that was a good time.
Before they IPO'd, and it was right before the pandemic hit. It was the RSA conference in like February of 2020, right? So like less than a month before everything shut down.
Didn't even know Snowflake was in 2020.
I know. Yeah, we kept hearing it from companies that we were talking to, and my first reaction,
political term.
My first reaction was like, that's a silly name for a database. Like, why would you do that?
Right.
But it ended like we had this partnership. We became one of the first companies that they put in Snowflake Partner Connect. One of the top.
It's a religion now.
It would, and it's huge. And so we were able to ride their coattails. We launched this free version of our product, and within 30 days of all that happening, we had the LOI to buy our company for it. It was ended up being a 9-figure deal.
Oh my god!
And then we walked away from that deal at the 1 yard line. We had people were scheduled to fly out to our office in Texas and Florida. This is December of 2021. And the day before that happened, we had to tell them we weren't ready to do the deal. And
that's like Friday. Blockbuster not selling to Netflix.
It was
not buying Netflix. Is that what the story was?
It feels similar.
Yeah,
it feels similar. In hindsight, it was a great deal. It was a big deal. There were reasons for it to be dragging on, but it dragged on. Time kills all deals was the phrase that came up in that process. Time killed that deal. Yeah. And about 6 months later, my wife and I had our second kid. We had bought this house in Austin. It was my brother works in in like mortgages up here. Was at Rocket Mortgage? Was like, why don't you just sell your house and come back? They're like, market's crazy. And I was like, shoot, that's a great idea. Everything's remote. So we sold our house, came back to Michigan. Right before we came back here, we had brought on this external CEO, and he said, hey, we're laying off a third of our company now. We're going to lay off all of our customer success people. I want you to go take over for those 6 people that we just laid off in customer success. I want you to do all of their jobs. I had a 2-month-old at home, and I was like, I don't want to do that. I went home and I talked to my wife. I was like, I think it's time. I think it's time for us to go. So we said no. Came home to Michigan. I took a step back. I had no idea what we were going to do. And we came home. I was going on a 1-month sabbatical. Ended up being a 6-month sabbatical. It was freaking great. And then I found out about the startup scene here. That was the path.
So it's funny. I brought up, I didn't bring up New York because usually tech, but finance, it makes sense. But like, just the drain. The thing that being around this, I've never left. I've found myself working for vendors. So the startup scene, not that it avoided me, I was never around it. The closest I ever got to it was speaking right after Doug Song in the early days of Duo.
Oh, Duo.
When he was at Duo, we've been doing IT in the D since like 2007. But never like the startup. It was never a thing. Then it was always getting jobs. We were focused on helping people, getting the help desk filled up at, Tech Systems and Stephanie,
Yeah.
But it always avoided me. Now, when I hear you talking about the startup scene in Michigan, like your eyes light up. And I'm going, not like what the hell have I been missing, but like, you know, when you start talking Series B and stuff, like most tech guys in this town, that's not in their vernacular. Just we're not. I've worked for Rubrik or I've worked for Nutanix. Like most of, like at least that's what I've been. You know.
Yeah.
I guess give me like a mile, like an executive overview of what the startup scene looks like in
Holy
Michigan.
cow.
Because I mean, there's probably a lot of guys like me that have been in the weeds, but we don't know.
Yeah. All right. So rewind 15 years ago, 2011.
Yeah.
Nothing. Didn't exist. Right. Or you would think it didn't exist. Duo existed at that time.
Oh, yeah.
Duo existed, but nobody, like I didn't know about it. Like nobody knew about it. And so to see what has happened since then, where Duo has this $2.3 billion acquisition in 2018, creates 80 millionaires that then many of them go off to become like Doug, like buying properties in Detroit, investing in startups all over the place, launching Michigan Founders Fund, which is what helped get me super plugged in the state here.
So there was always, I'm trying to think, what was the big thing that was always going on? Techstars.
Techstars.
Yeah.
You know, we always had like Monica Wheat.
Yeah. Monica's awesome.
Yeah. She's been on the show at least a dozen times, but like we never saw the things materialize. There was always these, you know, and we had people coming on our show.
There were pitches, but
there was a lot of pitches.
Yeah.
We had some pitches. The one that it's funny, I got my hand slapped really hard. There was the guy that it's proximity now. In the beginning when he started, it was crowdsourced bathroom lines at stadiums, and we're just like throwing our phone books in the air. And now we find out they're like a marquee.
Is it
like,
Line Leap?
It could be.
Yeah.
But it kind of, you know, we heard the first pitch and we're like, crowdsourced. Like, I'm going to take a look, you know, how long the line is and take a piss. Like, but now it, like, you know, when technology caught up, it became this icon.
Yeah.
Right. So like, I'm like, what the hell do I know?
Is it Line Leap? I feel like it might be Line Leap.
Someone smacked my hand really hard because I was telling the story about the guy that was like crowdsourcing bathroom lines. I'm like, that would never take off. And the guy, dude's word, like, I'm like, what is it? I go, now it's, you know, with cell phone technology and proximity checking.
That's
like
amazing.
now it's like, it's valuable, but you know, are you looking it up?
Yeah.
Nice. Well, while you're looking it up, so we have Doug's Cisco Duo's acquisition in 2018 by Cisco, and that creates a bunch of millionaires, and the people that were employees at Duo have now gone on to like create more new companies, which is super cool. Doug has like this map that shows the ripple effect.
Did he stay here?
Yes, he's extremely intentional about staying in Michigan and supporting founders in Michigan, right?
He thought the first thing he would have done is get a plane to Irvin.
That's what many people have asked him, told him. They would say like, what boat are you buying, or where are you moving to, or something like that. And he's like, why would I do that when I can just put my energy back into the next generation of founder here, which is what should happen, right? Sure. And that's the culture that is being built here now, right? Because Doug and Trista Van Tine co-founded Michigan Founders Fund, which I found out about. I was very lucky to find out about immediately after moving back home. 2 weeks. I had coffee with Trista about 2 weeks after we moved home. She told me about Michigan Tech Week because she was putting on the very first conference to bring together all of Michigan's high growth startup scene. I went to that, and that was like the glass shattering moment for me that Michigan has like many hundreds of companies that are going down this path of high growth and venture and like all of this really cool startup stuff. My people, you know? And so that organization, Michigan Founders Fund, exists to build the founder culture in Michigan and the investor culture in Michigan. Both founders and investors can be members of that organization, and it's because we're trying to bring people together and build density. Because Michigan doesn't have the density that like a San Francisco does, because it's not not all startup founders in Michigan are in Detroit. They're in Detroit, Ann Arbor, Lansing, Grand Rapids, Traverse City, Marquette, Michigan, right? We have portfolio companies now with the MSU Research Foundation. Like Cal Morris has like basically a space tow truck, right? It's a satellite that can grab onto other satellites, looks kind of like an octopus, and move them around in space, right? They've done a mission to the international
from Marquette.
And they've already done a mission to the International Space Station with NASA. So cool.
Jeez.
Unbelievably cool technology.
Thought they just made moonshine up there.
No, they probably do that too, right? But this shows the culture in Michigan, the talent of a founder in Michigan. There are people that just like put their heads down and build incredibly cool stuff. And what we are doing, we did it with Michigan Founders Fund. What we do now is try and find all of these folks and say, what are you doing? How do we plug you in with everybody else that's building here so that you can get your knowledge increased way faster and just build a better product, build it faster? It's freaking awesome.
It's funny where my head was at. I met a company This is back in in 06 when I was in I worked for a Japanese trading company. I was the IT sales manager for North, and I was trying to bring stuff in from like Tokyo and Germany and Brazil. And then I was trying to sell stuff to all of our other markets, and we owned a lot of stuff and met, my boss ran the satellite operation, and we went to like Podunk, Michigan. And lo and behold, in the middle of it, there's they're making the little parts, the communication parts are called like LNBs. And there's like 2,500 employees, middle of nowhere, right? Just pickup trucks. And I'm like, how did this, what? And then this light bulb came to me, like outsourcing rural. Well, and that was a time when everybody was going to Mexico, going to Korea, manufacturing Korea, Mexico. I'm like,
yeah, you can do that.
Yeah. And then when I go to the next year, I go to HP. Our entire call center was in Arkansas. It was fresh Arkansas grads. You're running our call center. You're going to be the next generation. So I'm like, again, lower cost. So I'm like, so that was my big horse I was riding, was like, outsource rural. Don't,
cool.
Because again, it was the building factories, the whole, you didn't need to do it. It not to say it fizzled, but I'm sure there's little pockets all over the country with companies, these weird, like, you make what, where?
That happened. Oh, there's a similar story up in also in the UP in Houghton. There's like that Calumet Electronics. Have you heard of it? These guys have raised like multi-millions dollars, like building an incredible company now. And I think it all started because like the mine shut down up there, and they were like, what else can we do? And then they built this like new amazing company. Another company, Orbian Space Technology, that just got acquired. One of our portfolio companies that just got acquired. Also in Houghton, building plasma propulsion for like systems for satellites. So cool.
We had the flying car guy. Do you remember him?
No.
They were flying out of like Oakland Air, the Waterford Airport, and it looked like a Mercedes van with wings. It was like Lone Star and Spaceballs.
So good.
But now when you look at the technology coming out, I just saw like the top 6 like getting to market. They're all one of them looks like that. It's not saying it passed him by, but like he was ahead of it. I think he was 5 years too ahead, 10 years. There's a little drone cop. Do you see the movie Mercy yet?
No.
It's on Amazon Prime. It's about 5 years. I love Black Mirror, dystopian 1984 stuff. And it's AI court. Judges are gone and it's AI, but the AI is also your Claude. Like you can talk to it and go, hey, what was I doing on May 19th at 4:52 p.m. on that corner? And it'll pull up the traffic cam immediately. So I was immediately hooked on this movie. And, the cops had the quad, like a drone, like an individual's like, you need to be over there. I'm there in 6 minutes. But like, so that there's showing those now is like, the little drone. Again, you're get my big ass on one of those little drones. There's no way. I'd rather drive. I digress.
It'll happen
one
day.
If you like that kind of stuff, it's a good movie. Then I got in I watched all the old Black Mirrors because I'm like, I got all wrapped up into that movie. Did you watch it yet, Randy? No. Were you looking up the stuff from like 2 hours ago?
Yeah. So to circle back to the toilet apps, was it Shooky?
It wasn't Shooky.
Was it Squatternaut?
No.
Flush?
No, there wasn't
Toilet Finder?
It wasn't Goofy. No. It was like it sounded like a startup name. You know what I mean? It was like a nice name. Like it wasn't like what was it? A crapper with no E.
It's got to be Line
Was
Leap.
it just the bathroom app?
I thought Line Leap was started in
No.
Michigan.
Line Leap is skipping lines at the bars is what it says.
Yeah.
And it started as
I don't
toilet. I don't know.
No, but it was crowdsourced bathroom lines.
Tinkle?
No, it wasn't Goofy, dude. It was I'll have to look it up.
Toodaloo.
It was not. like 8-year-old. We all turn into 8-year-old boys when we want to create apps now. Like, no, but getting back to we got to the rural star, but like getting to so I get like the Wayne State stuff, being and they're like they had a pitch competition. And I was like, wow, that's great. But I'm like, where does it go from there? Like, so now all these ideas are coming out. Like I kind of hear about stuff, but like again, are they just bailing as soon as they get a little bit of attention or getting good, or are they trying to hold roots here?
Many actually. I think every single founder that I've talked to that has raised venture or is trying to raise venture doesn't want to leave the state of Michigan. Every single one of them wants to raise their money from only Michigan investors, right? That's their ideal scenario.
Okay.
They don't want to have to leave the state to go raise capital. They want to raise from here, and they want when they build a great successful company, they want the returns to come back to Michigan too. Every single one of them, bar none, not a single one of them has said, I don't.
But see, now, if I asked, you told me earlier, the MSU fund.
Yeah, the MSU Research Foundation. Yeah.
After you say it 4 times, I'll finally figure it out. But that's like it's one of the biggest funds, not bank in the state.
Yeah, it is. We are the most active. So we're the most active investor in Michigan through 3 different families of funds that we.
If you would have asked 100 tech people in this town, I don't even think MSU would come out of their mouth.
No. And I wouldn't have known until I was going through the interview process there when I found out, and I was like, why is this not on like billboards, right? Like, this is so cool.
Right.
We're not just the most active, we're the number 1 and the number 2 most active investor in Michigan through Red Cedar Ventures and Michigan Rise, 2 of our 3 different families of funds. So Red Cedar Ventures invests in like MSU technologies and like MSU alumni. You can think to anything that kind of MSU tied. Michigan Rise, as a state-backed fund, invests in anything in Michigan. Anyone that's building here in Michigan will invest in, and it's been, it's great. It's been awesome to be.
So this is the question I ask every CIO, and it totally applies to you. When you have, I always joke with them, when you have 5,700 salespeople vying for your 8 hours a day, you could POC. If you said yes to every POC, that's all you would be doing for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
How do you filter through? Is it almost like we're in March Madness right now? Is it almost like we kind of have these pitch competitions and these, cream starting to rise at the top? Is it like a Thunderdome fight to the death? Like, how do you get FaceTime, or how do you get noticed? Do you have to like Shark Tank where like, hey, you need about $1 million in revenue, or we're not even going to talk to you?
No.
But how do you get just noticed if you're like, hey, I got this idea called Crapper where I want to rate public bathrooms. I think it's got legs. Or a vegan sausage company that wants to, get off the ground. Plossage.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Like, how do you get visibility? I got to sit and I got to mail you Christmas cards every day and send chocolates and say, please talk to me.
That, I do love chocolate, but don't send me chocolate. Okay. So we're fortunate to have a really large team. We have about 20 people on our team that work across our venture creation, and our venture investment teams. And so we have people that are here in Detroit at New Lab, right? Almost every single day of the week, we have people at New Lab, and there's 100, almost 200 startups that are incubating within New Lab right now.
Are you going to the thing tomorrow?
I'm going to, my wife and I have a monthly date night. We have a date night tomorrow.
On Thursday.
Right, spring break for our kids.
Okay. All right. We do Goodfellas. Mine's on Friday.
Nice. Oh, nice. Good.
Yeah. I'm on a panel for a founder panel tomorrow
at New Lab.
Yeah, just to tell cynical stories about AI and
well, when you're there, tell every single person that I said hi.
I will do that.
Good. Okay, so we have people in Detroit at New Lab. We have people in Grand Rapids at the Bridge at the Doug Meyer Medical Innovation Center in Grand Rapids. We have folks, of course, in East Lansing. We have a really great relationship with MSU, so we see all the technology that's coming out of MSU, of which there is phenomenal technology coming out, like the technology that needs to be commercialized. Great ideas that need someone to then take it and like raise money and take it and build a great company. Super cool. And like, if you want to run a great company, like talk to me about what's happening at MSU. Super cool. U of M does the same thing. It's awesome. And we have great partnerships with folks all across the state as well. And all of there's like 21 smart zones that are being built all across Michigan. We talk to these folks all over the place. And so we get deal flow from everywhere, right? From having boots on the ground kind of all in the major cities across Michigan and Traverse City. And we have folks in Marquette. And we hear now that we have over 300 companies that we've invested in. And so those founders have relationships with other founders, and we get connections that way too.
I'm absolutely mind blown. Would you have thought 300 like startups getting funding in the state of Michigan?
I could name maybe 5 startups in the state of Michigan. So thinking that there's 300 getting funding, and then there's how many ever that are doing their thing, or how many ever that are beyond.
To this time, just talking about cool companies that are being built in Michigan. There's so many.
Yeah. Give us a taste.
Okay. Let me give you one from like each city. Okay. So we'll start in Detroit because we're here. Have you heard of No Bias? For if anyone, these are just the ones that are coming to the top of my head, so don't think that these are favorites. They're just cool companies. Mott. Have you heard of this company? The one I have the hat on right now.
Never heard of it. What are they doing?
Cool. So Mott has an autonomous underwater robot that goes into water pipelines and scans water infrastructure for cities. Because cities, believe it or not, have no understanding of what their water infrastructure is. Yeah. And so these guys will go into a water pipeline up to like 6 inches, like the most common water pipelines, and they will scan it for you. So you have a map, and they will do predictive analytics to tell you when a pipe is like needs repair.
Similar to the drone company we had with the wind turbines.
SkySpecs.
SkySpecs.
Yeah, SkySpecs is another one, right? But they're older. They've raised a bunch of money now. Super great, awesome company. Very similar to that autonomous underwater robot that just goes and scans water pipelines. Super cool. And they've raised money from Michigan investors, right? We invested in them early. Assembly Ventures here in Detroit invested in them as well. I think I want to say eLab invested in them too. Very cool. Super cool. If we go to Ann Arbor, I'll give you one that I haven't talked about in a while. So, let me talk about BedConnect because I know them really well. Okay, so BedConnect, right? So Lindsay Joseph, the CEO of BedConnect, phenomenal, right? Mm-hmm. If you've ever had a relative of yours that's in the hospital and they get discharged and you have to deal with like where to send them next because they need to go to another like secondary care place, but you have to be the one that does all the research to figure it out because the hospital doesn't like want them there, but they don't know where to send them or anything like that. She's solved it. It's like open table, right? So there's like a whole solution for that. Health systems can discharge patients, send them to exactly where they need to go. So somebody from the UP comes down to Ann Arbor to get a procedure done, and they need to go, hopefully back to the UP to have like to go to an assisted living place or some secondary care place. They can do that instead of staying in some place that's like local to Ann Arbor, which doesn't make sense for them. This is like a multi-billion-dollar problem, and it's a simple problem.
You know what I love about both of those? It's actual stuff. Oh, yeah. It's not just this.
It's not skipping lines in toilets or anything. These are real problems. Yeah. This is what the founder in Michigan is like they're building realistic solutions, things that matter. That the number of times that people from Michigan have like legitimately changed the world is crazy to me. This is the stuff that like continues to blow my mind. I mentioned earlier, like we invented styrofoam and saran wrap, and like the people from Michigan do amazing things. Right. This is the next generation of what's happening.
I always loved Mark. We had a guy that did a podcast, and it was like a vignette. He wanted it was his own SNL, but it was a podcast, and he was old timey radio. He was one of the funniest human beings I ever met, Mark Pants. And he did a fake ad for an app to sell it was a marketplace for uneaten party sub. Have you ever had a backyard party and you have a 6-foot sub and only 4 feet of it got sold? What do you do with that 2 feet of sub? And it was a open marketplace for selling the 2 feet of sub that was uneaten.
Leftovers are like my favorite food. Yeah. I would never. I would keep that. Subs are great.
So we were supposed to have shared economy, and like you can borrow your neighbor's lawnmower and stuff.
Oh yeah, I remember that company we had on. Jonesy, right?
Was that the name?
I think it was Jonesy. Yeah,
but like. That should still be a thing.
I was like keeping up with the Joneses. Jonesy, you borrow you list up your ice cream maker because you don't use it every day, and somebody rents it from you for.
That's probably still a thing. It's just not as popular.
Yeah, this idea is dumb because it would never work because you need health violations. I'm like Grubhub, but you want like let's say it's like an old grandma cooks a meal and then but you get like homemade food, but you can't do it because of health violations. But that'd be a great idea.
Oh, I would love that. Yeah. I would love that. All right, let's go to Grand Rapids.
Like I only can do 10 lasagnas, and I'm only going to do it on Friday. Could you imagine like the buzz you'd get?
I think you need to explore the depth of Facebook Marketplace a little more.
They sell lasagna on Facebook Marketplace? Stop, they do not.
You can buy plates of food on Facebook Marketplace. Facebook tries to shut them down, but they keep popping back up. It's just people listen up. Hey, I got 6 extra burritos or whatever. You want to buy one? It's a styrofoam tray.
Mark Pants is smiling right now. It's unused party sub on Facebook Marketplace.
There it is. All right, I'll give you a couple more. So Grand Rapids, Vetter Health, right? Vetter Health, early stage company, super cool company that's doing
Eddie.
They were doing like telemedicine for.
Oh, you
for
missed
events.
the Pearl Jam reference.
Eddie, dang it!
Sorry,
Vetter. No.
Eddie Vetter Health.
Eddie Vetter. Oh, it's so old.
Even Flow. That was the name of our kids' milk bottles. I was always singing Pearl Jam when I'd feed my kid when they were little. Go ahead.
All right, Better Health. They were doing telemedicine for pets, and now they're shifting because what they did on the back end is so impressive. And so they're getting mobile vets to sign up for their platform and use them for diagnostics. And so basically, if you're a mobile vet and you go around to anybody's house and like treat their dog, cat, whatever, like we had a great dog. He just passed last year, and they do like at home. They would put your dog down at home, so you wouldn't have to take him into the vet. And like I didn't get to see my dog pass, which really sucks. But like they do that, but they do everything else that you need to. And they have the back end for all these mobile vets that are going around and doing that. Super cool, massively scalable play. Really great. Traverse City, I'll give you Atlas Space Operations, another company that just recently was acquired, has like the largest like ground system for like managing satellites and like getting satellite time in space to be like to do whatever it is you need to do that satellite is registered for. Freaking cool. Just got acquired by a publicly traded company, York Space Systems. And then the UP, we just talked about Cal Morris, but that's one of many that are being built up there.
Craziness.
Yeah.
So as every show's gone for the last like 26 weeks, we have to talk about AI. I can go into Claude right now and say, give me an idea for an app for a problem that exists around me. And then I can, buy the premium version and build an app because I'm not a coder, but I can have it built for me and I can have a working MVP in 2 minutes.
It's
and then I run to you and go, ooh.
Not anymore.
I guess, how do you know?
We know because this has happened. This has happened since.
Is that how you know? The double dashes in the business plan?
I hate the double dashes. There's no, the business plan is not a thing. I throw that in the garbage. So since December, right? Really, like December is like this black and white line in Claude and in AI coding capabilities. Yeah. The value of building a piece of software has just gone to zero. It's gone to nothing. Software doesn't matter anymore, right? So it's much more.
But it does, but it doesn't, but it does.
But it does, but it doesn't, right? Like,
I mean, no, I would double down on that because like it's. I don't want to say it's profound yet. I want to hear your explanation, but like when you drop that, that's like you can't just say that and leave the room. Let's get into this.
Case in point, I was on the phone with a new portfolio company of ours this morning, right? And they are scaling rapidly. On a scale, we invest in really early stage companies, right? So, but this company is scaling rapidly. They're over $1 million in revenue. They're scaling to like 3 or 4 million this year. Super cool, right? They would send out, as they're signing up many new like small businesses as customers, they would send them out agreements to sign. They would use DocuSign, right? Started costing them a lot of money. They use Claude. They rebuilt their own version of DocuSign in a day, less than a day, right? And so they don't use DocuSign anymore. Sure. That's what I mean by the value of software has gone to zero. The software
6 minute abs instead of DocuSign was 7 minute abs. We're going to make 6 minute abs.
It's that, right? Like I can recreate. Somebody posted online. They recreated Monday.com, right? You like vibecoded Monday.com, and so all of these platforms that have no moat are in real danger, right? Like that's. If you're building software and it's just like I do a thing, but like you could build that thing yourself, that's not good. If you build software that has network effects like Slack that has a bunch of people using it, or like we were talking about with these traders that were using AOL Instant Messenger because everybody else is using it, it's harder to get them to switch off. Like you need to be smarter about your go-to-market path and like what you're building and how defensible it is. Through network effects, through patents, through whatever, or maybe hardware, because hardware is still harder to build than software. Like that kind of stuff is what's more interesting now.
But like now, if you look at the disruption, I'm just thinking because that's what like when you looked at when we went into the Uber economy, the companies that didn't own anything, it was all using other people's stuff. Now you're using other people's. You just grab something and since you have your startup cost was zero.
Yeah,
you can price it at 20% of. If it's $1, you can be 20 cents. And, is that where we're looking at right now?
I think it's really hard to predict the future, maybe forever, always. But like right now, it's super hard. Like in the 2010s, it was pretty easy. You build software and everyone's building software and like that's fine. But right now, the pace at which things are changing. We don't have
SaaS anymore. Now we're going to do PaaS.
Now platforms as a service?
Yeah.
Is that, yeah. Maybe.
No, you know what the new one is? AaaS.
Is AI as a service?
No.
What's that?
Agents as a service.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Yeah.
But they got to rename it.
They should rename it. Yeah. Shoot. I think we're going to see a lot of companies like vibe code their way out of like traditional software purchases. Like what I would be scared of is if I'm like a Salesforce or if I'm like a traditional CRM or something like that, where people have, first of all, it's seat-based pricing, right? I would be really concerned about that because you can see the writing on the wall with many organizations are going to have many less people working at those companies. So if I have seat-based pricing, I'm going to lose revenue if I don't do anything. I'm just going to lose revenue because all of my customers are going to lose seats, right? Sure. Like that's going to happen. And then all of the younger, newer companies aren't going to default to using these things and spending money on that. They're going to build their own path forward, like we hear from our portfolio companies, right? Which is fascinating to me. Even our portfolio companies that are building software are really concerned about AI as much as it like 10x's their own engineers. They're worried about somebody tomorrow recreating 80% of what they've built. You know, like that's it's super. What an interesting time.
No, indeed. So like, when someone's pitching you, are there clear red flags that like you have not? Is it because, like you said, early stage startups, right? So I'm thinking, I went back to Shark Tank, like, hey, we got 10,000 users. Like, this is early stage. They're like, I mean, listen, if I got a dumb idea, I'm not going to pitch a VC anyway.
Yeah.
Right. I'm going to make sure it's broke, or I have had, the worst case, someone trying to destroy it. But like, how do you, and what if it's the greatest idea you ever heard of, but it just came from Claude?
We have, this is all great. Okay. So we have, we have a team of people that sits and like does most of these first interviews before it gets to our like investment team committee meeting.
And you're buying the operator too, as much as you are the idea. Don't I get that.
That's exactly where I was going to go.
Okay.
The thing that gets the multiple things get our team really excited. We invest all over the place. We invest in a bunch of different industries, right? So healthcare, therapeutics, medical devices, and AI and software, and hard tech, and defense, and all these places.
Sure.
Invariably, what gets our team really excited is when we come across a fantastic founder, a fantastic founding team, right? And to me, like there are some people that I would bet on. I don't care what they're building, right? Like it's true. It's truly that, and that can be like, hey, this person's built and exited multiple companies. They're doing it again. That's an easy bet. You got to take that bet. Yeah. But it could also be that I've talked to this founder that is doing things that they have no right to do. So to go back to another UP founder, there's a company called SyncCurrent up in the UP that has built great relationships with folks in Washington, D.C. that they shouldn't have been able to do it, right? Yeah. Like this, like they're not close. Like it's just a relentless founder that knows more about the space that they're in than anybody else. It's really clear that they have done their research and they're obsessed with this problem, and that there is no way. There's no way that they are not going to do the thing that they're setting out to do, right? Yeah. Nothing is going to stop them from accomplishing that task. That's when we come across founders like that, it's like we have to back them. So
I brought that up for one reason too. Like I've had an app idea. I've told Randy at least 13,000 times for 15 years. There's no way I was remortgaging my house to get this thing built. Today, I can do it. And I shot you an email the other day with kind of that where I was going with it. And God damn it, it's plausible, not Plosich. I got that in my head now. Plant. Guys like me are probably a dime a dozen on every other street corner that have had this idea for 15 years, and now today it's kind of a reality. Now what?
I think now's the time, right? Like we are in a space just now, right? There may be a space 5 years from now where like, human ingenuity matters less, which would be terrible, right?
This is solving a human problem.
Yeah. This is super cool.
I'm not telling you on the podcast. I'll tell you when the podcast shuts off.
Yeah, great.
I'll totally tell you. And if you take it, go. Like I'd rather it be seen than me being, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think now is such an incredible time. I haven't said this out loud yet, so I'll formulate the thought in real time. But I am a firm believer that if you're like the generalist that knows a bunch of stuff about a bunch of stuff, but like you haven't gone deep in like a thing, maybe now is like the best time ever for you, because you don't have to be the person that like writes the code in order to do the thing. You can just tell it like, hey, here's what I'm thinking, and just like troubleshoot your way to victory, which from an IT guy's perspective, like that's what IT is all about, is troubleshooting things, right? Like connecting dots. And oh my goodness, right? If you can connect a bunch of dots, the Claude can be the best thing ever for you, right? To build this really incredible There's really incredible.
Until Maud gets built in 3 months. That's the one thing we were joking about is my neighbor was barking at me about he's into real estate and these AI tools are giving him a leg up and he's using this. And I go, well, just wait 2 weeks and it'll be that. And he started laughing. He goes, well, yeah. And I go, then 3 weeks later, it's going to be this again. And then, so that's why I said, don't get too married to any of these. Cause now I texted him yesterday and I go, Perplexity Computer might be the first time I buy a premium AI.
Ooh.
And I'm like, but then 2 weeks later, it's going to be another one. But now if I got all my eggs in this one, I start building out my LMs. They got 4,100 API connectors. I'll probably connect to like 8 of things that I use. Now they got their hooks in.
Yeah, but you just feed it to the new
one.
Then
the new one, right? But but that might be. I don't know if you've seen demos of it or messed around with it.
Not Perplexity,
because it's like the first time you saw notebooklm.google and you're like, so and you start getting into it. And then you're like, and then everybody says, I'm going to jump on that wagon. I go, Microsoft's going to catch up. Just wait. And then now you can do it in Copilot, right? And then this and that, now, Claude is in Copilot also now, and then OpenAI, they're like, no, because they did something dumb. Again, you're going to see these. And now there's probably 7,200. I'm meeting with someone tomorrow that works at a real company and at a real, in a real project as a solutions architect. I came up with this thing. I'm like, oh my God, that looks freaking great. Let's go have lunch. So it's not just the founders that are doing stuff. It's the engineer from one of the CSPs that are on the site at a big 3.
Yes. So think of this massive shift. We're going to have a bunch of people that get laid off from all of these massive companies that have tens of thousands of employees. Okay, that's terrible. But silver lining, there's a bunch of people that could launch new companies and go build great things. Right? And if there's the capital to meet it, that's maybe the most challenging part, because I think most of that capital is going into the OpenAIs with their $120 billion round.
Yeah.
But if there's the capital to meet these great people with their great ideas, using these tools to build great things, oh my gosh, it could be a renaissance on the other side of this.
So I got that panel tomorrow. I want to pick your brain. I want to tell you, I want to float by what I want my drop. Rand and I spoke on networking the other day, and I said we first, our big thing to say was, the mic drop was, it's not who you know, it's who knows you. Because when you need a recruiter, you know every recruiter in town, but when's the last time you talked to them? Yeah. How are you feeding? How are you building your network? So that was the crux of this whole group was networking, right? And with this whole founder thing and this AI thing, my whole thing is I have a joke with some of my CIO friends. It's like, nobody gives a shit about your green blinking lights. We see you at these events and you got your table and you're like, my shit goes faster and we priced it per byte now instead of bit. And you're just sitting there like, bro, no one, because you get so engrossed when you work for these vendors that you think your green blinking lights are the greatest things in the world. But I'm like, now that I got in the consultant, 20 years on the vendor side and the last 10 in consultancy, what business problem are you solving? Right? That's great that you do a feature and do a thing. And the worst thing in the world you could possibly do is go, well, we save an hour a week. And then, you make 40 an hour. And then, so over a year, we're going to save you $2,000. What happens if you're just sitting, what if you're playing PopCap games on your phone during that hour that you saved? So we start talking about innovation, but I'm just curious from your side, if you had that one, on the business outcome side, are you seeing more people are pitching features? This is cool. Or you pitch because again, if you can get true business value, make me money, save me money, and quantify it properly, that's when you hit gold. In my opinion,
the pitches the pitches that we see are slightly different, right? Because the founders that we talk to are pitching to investors and not pitching to customers.
Yeah.
Which means that they're pitching, hey, look at the size of this market, look at how big of an opportunity is. Yeah. That kind of pitch.
We could do 10 podcasts on my thoughts on that alone. And not in a good way, but
so anyway, so we see it from more the investor lens, but I think the premise holds true. If it's just a feature that's not exciting, it's not, most of the time you'll get the response that doesn't feel like it's a fit for us. It's not venture backable. Yeah. It's too small of a market. It's too easy to replicate or whatever, like
Well,
you'll just get beat up if you.
Then you look at, I'm a Shark Tank junkie, and you're the guy that built like the LED toilet light. I think Mr. Wonderful invented it. And I think they sold like $100 million of these stupid like motion detected toilet seat lights.
So you want to talk about
but it was a product. So it went against everything that they do on Shark Tank, which was, I don't buy products, I buy companies. And then they went and sold this thing, made $100 million and just got GTFO, right?
Well, if you want to talk about what's important, distribution is one of the most important things to any company. That's always been the case, maybe more important now than ever. You have to be able to get your product out there. You have to be able to get, like, people have to learn about who the heck you are and what you're building. And if they don't, and it's harder to do that now than ever because of all the AI slop that goes out on LinkedIn and all these other places, but people have to be able to learn about what it is that you're building. Because if they don't, if you can build the most beautiful thing in the world, but if they don't learn about it, they'll never buy it. They can't, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if you have somebody like a Mr. Wonderful that invests in your company and helps you distribute it, that's phenomenal.
That's what they always say too. Like, I have I'm in the wedding business. I can get you into here,
that. And so that's what we're trying to do, right? Truly, the path that we're trying to go down is we want to be one of the most value-added investors on your cap table. And when we come in, we want to add a ton of value, open a bunch of doors for you, connect you with the rest of our portfolio, the rest of the network that we have, so that we can help with distribution, right?
Connect pitch an app, go, hey, I got Google Play on my phone. I'm in distribution. I mean, what's that? Because I'm thinking about like, how would I answer that distribution for like a tech tool toy?
Well, you could say, I've got an audience, right? Like, I have this audience, and all these people are going to hear about you. We can say, hey, we know folks in Lansing, media people in Lansing and Detroit, all over Michigan, so that you can kind of go out this way. We have great relationships with the folks at the state, at the Office of Defense and Aerospace, Industries, Innovation. Anyway, so our goal is, again, we wanted to connect you everywhere in Michigan because we ought to be able to do that, right? There's no reason that we shouldn't be able to connect you with a Ford or a GM or a Stryker or any organization in Michigan that cares about innovation. And they should know that we are the most active. We have the largest portfolio in Michigan. So come to us with any questions that you have. We have great relationships with Dow, with Fraunhofer, with like all of these amazing companies that are here in Michigan. And we should be able to just pull them in and help you build the thing that you're trying to build here.
Love that. You're pretty active out in the meetup scene and all that. Where can folks anyone can get FaceTime with you out and about?
The next,
not on Thursday date night, but other than that.
Not tomorrow. Although it's a combined portfolio dinner / date night. So I'm bringing my wife to work.
Does she know this?
She does. This is the first one that we're doing like that, but it's also a restaurant that she's wanted to go to for a while, so it's okay.
Which restaurant?
This isn't going live between now and tomorrow, right? Or when's
it'll go live 5 a.m. in the morning.
Right.
Tomorrow is Thursday. We usually record on Tuesday.
All right, we're going to Hazel's.
Ooh, good choice. I like that place.
Portfolio company of ours, Shifty is the name of the company, but the founder also owns Hazel's. Super cool. All right, so the next major event that I'm going to be at is in Lansing. It's on April 7th. It's Pitch Me. It's the championship for this $2 million pitch competition that we're putting on.
Okay,
huge deal. 4 companies are competing. They were previously we held 4 events this past fall. One in Grand Rapids, one in Traverse City, one in Detroit, one in Ann Arbor. All open to startups all across the state of Michigan, but only Michigan, in a bunch of different industry themes. So healthcare, clean tech, outdoor innovation up in Traverse City. Detroit was mobility, defense, advanced manufacturing. Ann Arbor was AI and software. So we had one winner of each of those pitch competitions. They each already won $250,000 from just winning in the fall. Some of them won more because we had private venture capitalists come in and invest in those companies same day. And Google Cloud came in and gave each of them $100,000 in Google Cloud credits. Wow. Awesome. So it was like $1.7 million, a little over $1.7 million just in the fall. Those 4 companies are coming back together on Tuesday, April 7th in Lansing. And one of them is going to walk away with $1 million.
Jeez.
It's huge.
It's Thunderdome, Mad Max.
It's
2 men enter, 1 man leaves.
Well, the cool you
2
mentioned
persons enter, 1 person leaves.
Yeah, you mentioned like cream rises to the top. Is it a battle? It's no, it's not. The coolest thing I think about Michigan's startup scene, like the superpower that we have here, is the people here are really friendly and they default to wanting to help always, like invariably. Super cool. And
we used to always have the final 4 of the Comerica. What the hell was that?
Hatch Detroit.
Hatch Detroit.
Yeah.
We used to have the 4 finalists, and it was funny when you follow 3 years later. 2 of them, the one always went, but the second one was always around, and then the third one sometimes would always be around. 4th one, so it wasn't like you had the winner right? The other ones just did it. They just didn't get the seed money right away. Someone else helped them. You know what I mean? So I always thought that was cool.
It's awesome. And these 4 companies, so there are 20 companies that competed in the fall. All 20 of them freaking great, like really, really, really great companies that are being built here all across the state. These 4 companies that are competing, they've just become friends, right? So they didn't all know each other before they met before they won each of their respective cities. But they become friends. They have like a group text that they share. They were just down at South by Southwest together. Like, it's awesome. It's really awesome. So that, again, the culture in Michigan, the founder culture in Michigan, everybody's helpful. Everybody supports each other. They all want each other to win, and they go out of their way to help each other. It's like, I can't put a value on that. It's just, I think it's
the network from that's how we did. It was the network.
Yeah.
It was the who knows you. You know what I mean? Again, most valuable.
So I have a question I want to ask you.
Yeah.
What do you see are the drivers or the reasons that people or businesses, startups are leaving Michigan, not choosing Michigan, or Detroit specifically even would be a good topic. Like, why are they not staying here? Why are they not starting here?
Okay. I would say the reasons that companies leave Michigan, right, and the ones that I've seen happen are they can't raise the capital in Michigan and they raise it somewhere else. Or what really irks me is all of it irks me. I hate it when a company leaves the state. But a company that like is getting ready to raise their Series A, like a $20 to $30 million, like huge Series A, gets sniped, gets pulled away because another investor / their state government comes in and says, hey, we'll invest in your company. We'll invest we'll give you a sweetheart deal. And also if you move to our state, all of this, you have to move to our state. And we're going to get you this nice building, and you can stay in this building, and you get all of this stuff for super cheap too. And so the incentives that other states have, they specifically target Michigan. Like they have said, some investors have told us this, and I hate it, that they specifically target Michigan companies that are getting ready to raise their Series A, because once you raise your Series A, that's the capital that you need to hire a bunch of people. And after you do that, you're kind of good. Like you're going to be good. You're going to stay there. You're going to hire a bunch of people there. And so the goal for me is like, we need enough capital to invest in companies and get them through their Series A, because once that happens, we're good. So that they get sniped away. That's a big one.
Tennessee Valley Authority used to come up here and try to get, hey, I got 100 acres. The factory's already built, redundant power, 10 years tax free. Move your shit down here. So when you see all like the autos made in Tennessee,
that's why. Yeah. So those incentives, the state of Michigan is coming around to this stuff. We have like SOAR was at like a $500 million fund, things like that, which to try and attract more companies here, things like that. But it's not really targeted toward early stage startups. And so you have our funds, but we don't write, our checks are $100,000 to $250,000. We don't write massive checks. And so we can't, through what we do with MSU Research Foundation, we can't be the ones that are solving for that problem, but that totally exists. And one day we're gonna fill that void and be able to keep our companies here and attract other companies here following similar paths. The other, why would somebody not build in Detroit? Honestly, I think it's perception. I think it's the legacy perception of like Detroit's bankruptcy is still lingering out there. It's changing.
Even like the brands that are here though, aren't like the Shine. I think Shinola did more than they realized for this town.
Yeah.
The Made in Detroit, people assembled Detroit, but whatever. I'm wearing one.
Nice. Nice.
Carhartt, we could sit here and talk brands and names that are like the Domino's. Like people don't realize how big Domino's is.
No, they don't. We are by far the number one pizza state in the country.
Not even a question.
No question. And like for people that don't know, Domino's here, number one pizza chain in the country.
4X the number 2.
Huge. But also Hungry Howie's is here. Little Caesars is here. Jets Pizza is not just a Michigan company. It's a Sterling Heights company. And I didn't know that until I moved home.
My 3 guys in high school, I graduated high school in 1991. I'm an old man. And 3 guys, they said, do you want to go to Central in Michigan State or do you want to open up a Jets? Really early days. Those guys, all 3 of them took it. One guy got out quick. Pizza business, not for me. One guy opened like 2-3 stores. The other guy, he's got he's all
Jets.
in. Yeah.
Best ranch in the world. And Detroit style pizza is the most trending restaurant item on menu item on restaurants now.
Well, you tell a 20-year-old, no, you can't go party tonight because you have to work till 11 and then you're going to be full of flour and sweaty. And you're like, no, good for those guys. Though. That was great.
So-
That was a great
But in
story.
the-
Yeah. So let me ask you the same question, but about individuals. Why are individuals leaving Michigan?
Why did he leave?
I left in 2011, right? So from 2000 to 2010, Michigan was the only state in the country to lose population. Detroit declares bankruptcy in 2013. It was a terrible time to be in Michigan and Detroit. The time that I left, and again I left because like my brothers and I used to call Michigan the blighted zone, like the state where opportunity goes to die, right? Like that was our perception.
It's
of
Ohio.
Michigan. That's I'm happy to give that to Ohio, but that was our perception of Michigan when we were growing up. Is like why would I stay was the real question. Why would I stay? Because there's nothing for me here. I need to leave to go build a great career. And when we did, I left. My older brother left. My older brother's still gone. But when I left, like there was no intention for me to return home, and I only returned home because of family. Like it was truly that we returned home because we had our second kid, and it was time to sell a house, and we moved on from my previous startup. We came home to be close to family because both my and my wife's families are in Southeast Michigan, right? Sterling Heights and Plymouth, and like that was it. And it was after I came home that I stumbled across through serendipity. This lady that used to work for me introduced me to Trista at Michigan Founders Fund, and she and I had coffee. This other lady had like been to Michigan one time, maybe, and she introduced me, and that is how I got connected to the startup scene. That changed my entire perception on the state of Michigan, because I thought I was going to end up getting a remote job because I didn't even think to look for opportunities here. So the reason that people leave is because they might still be under that, what I would call, especially now, false perception that Michigan doesn't have the opportunity for them, that Detroit doesn't have the opportunity for them, when reality is there are amazing companies being built here. We launched a job board to try and get around that. We have almost 200 companies that are listing 200 high growth tech companies that are listing their jobs on one site, so you can see it, right? See the opportunities that are all around the state of Michigan, right? Jobs.msufoundation.org.
That's kind of everything. What's the URL again?
Yeah, jobs.msufoundation.org, right?
Cool.
And
I'll
that's
put that in the show
only
notes
gonna
for
grow.
sure.
Yeah.
Super cool. And so it's what we're trying to fight, what I'm trying to fight on a personal level, and I think what a lot of people are trying to fight around the state of Michigan is the perception that Detroit is like, my God, what has changed in Detroit is unbelievable. And that was another shocker for me when I came downtown as part of my early days at Michigan Founders Fund. I was walking around downtown Detroit on Michigan, on Woodward, right? And it reminded me of Michigan Avenue in Chicago. I was like, what the hell is this? Like, what happened? Right? Like, I looked down an alleyway. I was like, somebody had cleaned this alleyway? Like, this is crazy. It was never would have thought that when I was a kid, and I didn't experience that until I came home.
Coming from someone that spent a lot of time downtown in the mid 90s, going to Wayne State and all that, it's cool to see. It really is. Like, just, I get to work now in the new Hudson's building, every day job, It's a cool place to be. Like, let's walk. I got to go to lunch tomorrow. We're going to go to Hudson Cafe, get a Maurice salad. Again, you couldn't do back then. I was talking to somebody back in the old Wayne State days. I'm like, you had like 3 places you can go get food. That wasn't, fast food. It's like Z's place,
Yeah. Unbelievable.
No.
Unbelievable.
We could sit here all night telling stories and talking, but we got to cut this short. Pete Martin, I can't thank you enough for being on the show. We're definitely, I definitely want to ask you back as things progress and as this Pitch Me competition, the companies are more than welcome to come on here, kind of tell their story too, because we love this stuff.
Awesome.
Big fans of what you're doing in Detroit. But yeah, Pete Martin, hit you up on LinkedIn or don't?
Yeah, you can find me on LinkedIn. My LinkedIn handle is Mr. Michigan.
You didn't do that.
I did. Off of as people started calling me that because I talk about Michigan a lot. I wear like Oak shirts and like all this Michigan stuff.
I love that shirt.
Thank you.
I did buy a Wayne State Tartars shirt in my size now because the one I used to like. Do you know it was the Tartars, right?
No.
Oh, it used to be the Tartars. I think when did they change? Like 2008 or something.
The Tartars?
Yeah, they were called the Tartars.
Like tartar sauce?
No, but it was
like
like the war. It was like a
from the
gladiator.
Nobody knows about.
Okay. Yeah, it was a gladiator thing. Like So yeah. I got a Farmer Jack shirt. I just bought a top hat.
Done. These shoes are a Michigan company too. Holo Footwear. Yeah.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah. My glasses are from CI Eyewear in Ann Arbor. My hat is obviously Carhartt and Mott.
Isn't that Sexy Specs? The CI.
It's not DOC. That was DOC. Yeah.
Golden or whatever. The dance was awful. Those commercials.
It was such a sexy specs.
But hey, we're gonna On that note, we're gonna trim that one. No, I'm kidding. We're gonna wrap things up for this episode of the IT and the D Show. On behalf of Bob and Randy, do us all a favor: drink up your drinks, get your phone numbers. You don't gotta go home. You just gotta get the hell out of here. See you next week. Drive careful. Beat it.
Bye, everybody.